Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Zane Gorilla here again, and just to let you guys know, I've just done another What If earlier today, and this one is going to be part one of a redo. As you most probably tell, it's Destiny. What if Deku was a hive? Now, somebody did ask me for a part two of this, and here's a redo of the first one because I didn't really like the first video I did of it. Others seem to like it. I didn't as much. Anyway, where we start off is with Deku as a thrall. As he is at the moment in the middle of an engagement between the Elixni, or Fallen as we know them. The Fallen are holding on to a location because it's got valuable scrap, but due to them having their numbers so thin, the fallen house is taking heavy casualties already. And I'm gonna say it's the House of Devils, because they're the first fallen house you see. As Deku, with a large detachment of thralls, acolytes, knights, ogres, wizards, they all charge all at once, overwhelming the fallen. A fallen captain survives, if just barely, with with one other, as he and this one runs off, followed quickly behind by Deku and a few of the other thralls. Deku actually just jumps at the one at the back because it was a bit weaker and slower. Plus, it's a drag, so ouch. Not a nice thing for a drag because it's getting mauled by Deku. And as I said, the drag gets absolutely mauled by Deku, joined by a few others. The captain just fires his scatter rifle or fire shotgun once or twice, no, a few times while he's running. As Deku and the others don't give chase, they move back to the horde as they give a small status report to an acolyte, who then gives it to a knight, who then gives it to a wizard, who decides what to do with the information. As they keep themselves nice and hunkered down in the place that they have just taken, the fallen don't try to take it back for quite some time. As the House of Devils eventually does come back, fighting over the same place again, to basically get pushed back by the overwhelming amount of hive. As a fallen captain that escaped the slaughter last time comes back and tells all of his men, shouts at his men saying, You lot get going and kill these hives so we can retake what was ours. If you do not get moving, I'll kill you myself. Capiche? As all the fallen sort of try to redouble their efforts to take back what they have lost, the hive just continuously slaughter them. It gets so bad that even the captain himself saying this is impossible, the Kel will not be pleased. As they leave again, as the hive sort of this time give full chase, butchering all that try to run, including the captain himself, which, surprisingly, gets tackled by Deku and three others, as all three of them rip into him. The place where they were was actually in the middle of an old city, so his screams could be heard echoing through the entire city. As the fallen, as a fallen patrol hears the scream, and they go to investigate, only to find a huge hive outpost or hive area filled to the brim with corpses of fallen basically. I had no idea where I was going with that one. As they gather the armor and weapons of their fallen brethren and just leaving the bodies. Deku was on a patrol with a few thralls, acolytes, and a few knights. Some with boomer rifles and some with actual swords. As they stumble upon that patrol, a small firefight breaks out, and unlike what happened to the last lot, the hive actually fall back after losing both of their knights and three of their acolytes. As the acolytes just say, fall back, we are too exposed and we've got no way of killing them. As a pistol shot goes right through his or its head. As Deku and the rest of the Hive forces fall back. The Fallen don't give chase because they know that they're running straight back to that massive hive. As a few years pass of them going backwards and forwards, eventually taking a lot of the city, making a staging area. The House of Devils falls back and virtually leaves the island by the end of the next 5 years. As the Hive give off a cheer, and a lot of them get moved to different areas. Deku eventually gets moved up to the moon, and during one of these battles, Deku was eventually placed up to being a acolyte, so he gets 3 eyes. And as an acolyte, he follows once again another knight fighting the Fallen, the House of Scar, or the House of Scars, which does not have a Kel. It has barons who virtually control it all. As a few more months of combat go along with Deku and these Fallen, And this is when he finds himself on his own one day, because I'm going to say that he was not ordered to go on a patrol. He was left to his own devices as everybody else went for patrols. As he casually walks around the temple of Crota, hearing whispers of Crota, of Crota's servants, of being more of his actual brood, of Crota's personal brood, Deku finally decides that he wants to go on a patrol because he is bored. He has not killed enough to feed his worm. And we all know the sword logic. Take enough to satisfy your worm and yourself, and give the rest to your betters. And Deku has killed a lot to grow. Eventually, as I said, he gets bored and wants to go on a patrol, so he walks around trying to find a patrol to tag along with, but stumbles a bit too far into the Temple of Crota, eventually finding Crota's personal resting chambers. As he wanders around, still trying to find a patrol to join, as he realizes he's very deep in the moon, not really paying much attention to where he was until now. He realizes that he's in a completely different area where he hasn't been before, where there's a massive door in front of him, as it seems to be open just a smidge, just enough to fit himself through. And him being curious, walks in to find the crystal with Crota's soul in it. As he walks up to the crystal and looks around for a bit, eventually going to the very back to see if there's a way out, to no avail, he comes back to see three glowing eyes looking at him from the crystal. As he stands there looking at the three eyes, realizing that there's horns coming off the back, because it's Crota's soul, you can still see that shit, apparently. As he realizes who it is, and sort of prays to Crota by getting on his knees and making his weapon float in front of him. As he could hear Crota whispering to him, saying, "Why are you here? My chambers of my soul's resting place should never be disturbed. Only Omnigol and the rest of my brood can enter." In his hive speaking ways. Well, I guess all hive can actually speak English, if you look at the Taken King. So yeah. As Deku then says, "I apologize, I did not know this was your resting chamber." please forgive me. As Crota sort of gets amused that one single acolyte actually stumbled into his chamber without realizing it. And not only that, didn't really seem to mind having a giant crystal in the middle of the room with eyes peering out of it, and shrugged it off as if it was just eyes manipulating them. As finally a screech of laughter is heard as Omnigol, the will of Crota, appears. And she then looks at Deku and is really, really confused of why he's here. Before she could send him away, Crota says no. I like this one. He shows no fear of me and no fear of you, apparently. I will be keeping a close eye on this one. As he tells her to teleport him out to the main area with herself along with him, telling him to join that squad, a certain squad, and go out and kill, but to always remember that Crota's watching him. As another time skip happens, another 5 years, Deku has finally become a knight. After one very hectic battle with the Fallen, where he was the only survivor. Using tactics that the Fallen didn't think the Hive could use. I'm going to say this, he found a panel with military training regiments and tactics on it. As he sort of puts the tactics to use, using cover, shooting from cover itself, fighting covering fire as more Hive move up, and also to keep around corners as enemies often love to peer their heads around first and take them off. He becomes so proficient at it that when the battle was over, he became the only one to survive. As the Hive reward him with a promotion up to a knight. And now this is where things really do kick off. He actually gets summoned by Crota. And not only does Crota summon him, but he summons all of his pieces. His arms, his axe or his sword, his axe, no, his sword, his arm, and his wills, and his will, and his eyes. As all of Crota's pieces are there, like his body pieces, like his heart, his will, his brains, and his sword. Don't know whether he has a brain or not. Has a brain as a has chosen called the brains. Don't know. I'm just making this up as I go along, guys. As eventually Deku kneels in front of Crota with his sword floating in front, as the others all kneel as well. the sword of Crota actually takes a knee next to Deku as well, as the will of Crota floats there, bowing her head. As Crota then says, I have been watching this young hive from when he first entered my chambers. He has proved himself worthy to be my right hand. As the sword of Crota looks up, then looks back down again, Crota notices this and says, Speak, my sword. As the sword then says, Master, are you sure you want him to be your right hand? Yes, he is powerful. Yes, he has killed a lot. But it is too soon, as Omnigol slaps him a bit, saying, Shut up, this is our master's. This is the will of our master, and his will be done. If you get that reference. As the sword continues saying, I know this is your will, master, but I do not believe he is worthy of being a chosen just yet. Let him have a few more years to prove himself. Crota then speaks, saying, I have made my decision. He has nothing left to prove. Is that clear, my sword? As he says, Yes, master. And he asks all of them to leave bar Deku and Omnigol. As the rest of them leave to their broods, basically. As Omnigol says, Why do you not wish me to leave, master? Along with Deku saying the same thing. As Crota then says, I offer you something in return of your new rank. As a giant, as an axe appears, similar to the one you see in the picture with the armor with the red lines red ribbons. As Crota then says, as my right hand, you get this weapon along with this armor that shows your ranking, and I'll fuse some of my essence within you so you have much more strength to fit your rank. As Deku then bows, saying, Thank you, Master. Where will you have me deployed? As he would say, Earth, along with the sword. No, I think he was the fist, actually. Yeah, he was the fist. Sorry. Getting that very mixed up. Along with the fist of Crota. But you will be in the place known as the United States of America. As Deku says, as you wish, Master. As he says, Omnigold will be going with you to get a brood started. Omnigold looks at Crota, saying, Your will be done, Master, but I have serious concerns about this. As Crota says, My will be done, Omnigold. As Omnigol bows and goes with Deku. Omnigol teleports herself with Deku to the United States as they see a last city or last cities patrol, because there's 2 cities in this, one in America and one in Old Russia. As Omnigol saying, an last city patrol, we must be careful. In as quiet as of manner as she could possibly be, but considering it's Omnigol, she screams a lot. As the last city patrols see them, as they say, hive, take them down. As they start firing, Omnigol flees along with Deku. As the last city patrol chases them, as Deku hides around a corner, as he shouts to Omnigol, get over here, there's a place here. As she hides around a corner herself, unfortunately bumping into some Fallen and quickly dealing with them. As the last city patrol hears the scream of Fallen, they run up to Omnigol's location to find out she's not there. She teleported. She teleported out of there and teleported behind Deku. As Deku sort of reappears behind them, as the last city patrol member could actually see a shadow appearing behind him, turns around to try and shoot, but ends up getting his neck snapped without getting a single shot off. But the thud of the weapon and his body hitting the floor alerts the others, who see a massive hulking knight with red ribbons and an axe. As they all begin to fire, Deku just activates his shield, or puts his shield in front of him. As the bullets hit, a lot of them start to reload as the shield drops, and he runs towards them, slicing and dicing. Because with one of them, he actually does slice them smack in two from the neck to halfway down the waist. As the screams of, as well, Fallen could hear the screams of the last city patrol and come to investigate to only find the last city's patrol in America getting launched into the nearby wall in front of them. As the Fallen sort of sneakily put their heads around the corners to see a massive knight with a wizard walking away. The Fallen just scavenge the weapons and TTFO, ta-ta for now, and bugger off. As Omnigol finds a relatively decent looking cave, which is nice and dark for the hive to be in. Deku walks in only to be greeted by a bear, which he easily deals with. As Omnigol sets up a hive base for Deku with a brood mother. Well, not just a brood mother, 3 of them to get the place up and running. As Hive start pouring into their new base within America. And just because I want to, it's literally near Hoover Dam. It's literally right next to Hoover Dam. But Hoover Dam has also been destroyed, so that's no longer there. But it's still called Hoover Dam, so you know where you are. As Deku then has his own base, he starts organising scouting parties, looking for suitable locations to have outposts. As he leads one of them himself. As he bumps into another last city patrol. And they did not last as long as the other group did, because within a few minutes they were already overrun, sorry, and one of them was trying to call for backup, but got shot in the back by an acolyte that Deku also had. A lot of it was offered up to Deku, which obviously sword logic he took anyway, but gave enough for the thralls to have for their worms. As a few months pass, Deku has set up his fully functional base with the brood mothers. Omnigol pays a visit here and there. And eventually stays there for a long time. As a few meetings with Crota have appeared, as he's asked Deku to go to old Russia. This is where the story truly begins, as Deku appears in old Russia, killing a patrol of Fallen, looking at a orb floating around. As the orb finally says, "There you are," and revives a guardian. This guardian is Bakugo. As Bakugo gets up and says, where the hell am I? Who are you? As the ghost says, "No time to explain, we must go now. There was a fallen patrol nearby, I think, but all I could hear was screaming from them. Sounds like something killed them, and whatever it is, it must be powerful, Guardian, so we must go." As the ghost looks around to see this massive hulking hive with an axe looking at them, the ghost then screaming, "We have to go right now. Just don't question me, Guardian, just run. Run as fast as you can." As they eventually go into the starting area, getting a ship and leaving, with Bakugo actually having a run-in with this massive hulking hive. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it off here. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, and subscribe. More on the way, hopefully next week. Bye.